Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan. With me is Brian.
I'm over here.
Yeah,
I'm Brian.
You're over there. We also have new guest, Joe, and then returning guest, Brad. So we're all here. Four of us are here to talk about Arcane, but first, we got the Matrix 4 trailer too, I guess.
What do you mean you guess? It definitely came out.
I'm not sure still. Is this still just a soft reboot of the first Matrix?
Yes, that's exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It also seems like it's like kind of like paying homage to like the originals too.
But
this is one of those occasions where I wish they would subvert our expectations and take that and completely flip it on its head. But I have a feeling that we're just gonna get a repeat.
Probably that's what we're going to get. The most impressive thing to me is that most of the trailers in Unreal Engine. I thought that's really cool. It's not even real people, but they look real.
Ooh, does that mean we're going to get more Matrix video games? Because the last ones were so good.
I think they were my favorite games I've ever played.
I can't say any of the Matrix. I can't say any of the Matrix video games were any good. I was super excited for Into the Matrix, which was supposed to bridge the gap between the Matrix 1 and the Matrix 2. And so you weren't playing as Neo or anyone important. And then they had live action cutscenes with actors from the movies, but they gave them zero budget to do any special effects. So they were just like on a green screen, and it was awful.
It sounds awful.
It was not good. And
I will say they came out with a tech demo for, I guess, to hype up this new Matrix trailer. It's on
Epic?
PS5. No, it's on PS5 and Xbox. I tried it. I've never played a game with such good graphics.
So I was going to ask if
it's a tech demo, but like the graphics on it are absolutely insane. I can't tell from real life to fake life or CG life. I don't even know what it is. Unreal Engine power.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
Anyway.
Go Unreal Engine.
The Halo TV show is coming out on Paramount.
Paramount Plus, yeah.
Paramount Plus.
A reason to have Paramount Plus. I mean, so far there hasn't been any other reason. I mean, there's
I don't have it.
Well, all they really have is Star Trek, and just like the normal TV shows that are on TV.
Well, there was there was something else on Paramount that I thought about, but I don't remember what it was now.
I don't know. I don't think there is a release date for Halo, but whenever it comes out, I will probably watch it because I'm a mild fan of Halo. It's okay. At least that's my interpretation of Halo.
I was really big into it when I was in high school, playing on 360 and all that, but I stopped after 4 just because I didn't want to buy a new Xbox.
I personally never understood the fascination with Halo. I feel like it dumbed down the shooter genre, where it's hide behind a wall, regen your health, keep moving forward. I feel like
before Halo, it was just Quake, wasn't it? And Doom,
Half-Life,
Wolfenstein.
Half-Life.
When did Halo 1 come out?
Halo 1 came out
to 2000.
After
2001.
After Half-Life.
Half-Life 1.
Yeah,
after Half-Life 1.
What, 97?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
And it was in development forever. It went through so many transitions before we finally got the Halo that we actually got.
Well, it used to be a RTS, right? Or something like that? Yeah.
And it was going to be for the Mac.
It was going to be for the Mac. It was going to be for the Apple console that totally bombed.
Yeah,
what was it? What was the Apple console called? I don't remember. I want to say it started with a P. I don't remember. I don't have one. And I have never played on one, and I don't want one.
Honestly,
sure?
Honestly,
it sounds like you want one.
I'm gonna go on eBay and find one. I'm gonna play Halo on it.
I will watch parts of the. I will watch the Halo show until it disappoints me. So it might disappoint me pretty quick, and I might fall.
You're gonna watch 10 minutes of Halo.
You're gonna say, "Oh, that's Master Chief." Okay.
As soon as Cortana's got clothes on, I'm out.
Oh, you're gonna be out real quick. Then.
Yeah, it's gonna be first minute.
I want Gen 1 Cortana. Give me.
You're not getting that, man. Cortana's different now. I don't know why. Because I haven't played the past 2 games.
It's one of those questions of, are we going to follow the story of the games? Are we going to come up with something new? Obviously, Master Chief's going to be in it. I mean, I think
it might be, based on what I've seen, maybe prequel to the games.
might follow the books. There's like
there's a lot of books.
I don't know. I think they all suck. That's
I read
all I
like I think I read one of them. It was like about the old race that is now the new games about. I forgot what they're called.
It's
Well,
like
it's
anything
okay.
else. It's like, I mean, that's like Doom the book or Doom the storyline. I mean, gamers show up for something other than what TV and movie fans do. And so it's one of those that it just doesn't transition over smoothly.
I don't know. Well, I mean, that's what we're cursed
Well-
with pretty much every video game media that is not a video game.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It looks
Now-
like Mario.
It's sad but true.
The Game Awards happened.
Oh,
It
did it
It
happen?
did happen. They
Are you-
did happen.
Are we sure?
I'm pretty sure they happened. I want to just say for the game of the year, It Takes Two, Joseph Fairdays. He's an awesome guy. I love that guy. He's fantastic, and his game is fantastic. Secondly, if anybody doesn't know what Forspoken is at this point, I know I've shown all three of you the trailers for Forspoken. I'm excited for that game. Did
Yeah, that
anything
game
jump out
looks good.
to you guys at the Game Awards?
Well, I was telling everybody that all the Warhammer fans are probably losing their minds because we're finally getting Space Marine 2 10 years after the original.
There was no release date on that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they've got a pretty
Well,
good
we know it's
track record.
happening.
Yeah, that alone is enough, I think, for those people.
But I mean, a lot of people like came together on the multiplayer between Space Marine and Dawn of War. Those were the ones that really drove people into the hobby. So for us to finally be getting Space Marine 2 is, I mean, that's just awesome.
I'm glad for all the Warhammer fans.
Yeah.
Someday I will hopefully get into it.
It just seems like a lot. I'm in the same boat.
It just depends on what kind of game you're into, because there's a Warhammer game for whatever kind of gameplay you're into. I mean, if you're a first-person shooter fan, they just had Hired Gun come out. So if you want to start there, if you're an RTS fan, a turn-based strategy fan, whatever, there's basically they farm their license out to all these other companies. So whatever kind of game you're into, there's a Warhammer game of.
See, but that's the problem. There's so many of them. It's like you can go anywhere you want with them.
But they're not really connected, so you don't have to. I mean, the universe is so big and there's so much stuff going on, you really don't need to know a whole lot to enjoy the game.
Sure, I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Joe, what about you? What did you see from the Game Awards that you're excited for?
Well, Forspoken was one that looked amazing. I also think it looked great. Forspoken, yeah. That's top of my head. Horizon looked like all the settings look really cool.
I'm excited for Horizon. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah,
That's going to be a good one.
Had a lot
If
of
you
good
want to know what I'm really disappointed in is that this is the 25th anniversary of the Persona franchise, and I'm a big JRPG guy, and instead of getting like a remake of any of the Persona games or anything like that, we got the fighting game.
Yeah, which is
and it wasn't it Persona 4 characters?
Yeah, it's the
or was it-
Persona.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
Persona 4 one.
Fighting game, which again, Persona 4 was really the one that, you know, brought it into the mainstream, so I get that, but at the same time it's like everybody's been like, are we going to get another Persona 5? Are we going to get a Persona 6 trailer? Are we going to get a remake of Persona 3? Are we going to get 1 and 2 or something? But what did we get? We got the fighting game.
Now, is
Yeah.
that like a sequel in a sense? Because they made it sound like it was. It is? Okay.
Well, someday you'll get Persona 6 in 2024 when they announce it at E3 when we're
Yeah.
back in person, baby.
We just got Shin Megami Tensei 5. So, I mean, that they're, you know, to be fair, Atlas fans don't have a lot to complain about, but it's still, I mean, this is the 25th anniversary. We would like something really Persona related, not the fighting game.
Sure. I mean, that
like
makes
what
sense.
happened for Mega Man's 25th anniversary? Absolutely bupkis.
Actually,
Man.
worse was Metroid's, because Nintendo didn't even acknowledge the 25th anniversary of Metroid.
It's true. Nintendo's weird sometimes, though.
Nintendo follows their own rules. They don't like follow what their fans want. They don't follow what like the industry's doing. Nintendo's just like, we don't care if anybody doesn't do or like anything we do, but we're just gonna make stuff.
But again, they've been in business for over 100 years.
Oh yeah, they're definitely they're way older. Well, they weren't always in video games though.
Yeah, they were card games.
Card and
pornographic card games too, if I recall.
You are correct.
Good stuff.
That was the deep dark history of Nintendo.
Classic Nintendo. They should go back. They should go back to the roots.
And don't make video games. They just make cards.
Oh, make adult video games.
Cards.
Yeah, they were handmade cards.
They actually became really popular among the Yakuza, which actually kept their business afloat for decades, unfortunately.
Well, it is mind-boggling how Nintendo has actually stayed in business for how much they have their head buried in the sand. Because like they march the beat of their own drum. They have no idea what's going on in the rest of the industry, and they're still successful. And
they just don't care.
I guess. Well, I just remember reading articles where Nintendo was like, "Oh, we had no idea how hard it was making a high definition game, and how it takes twice as long to make a." I'm like, really? Have you not like read anything in the media about games at all ever? About any of your peers who've been doing it for a decade already?
To be fair, though, they've taken a gamble on a lot of things that are paid off. My favorite is they actually had a guy who was working there as a custodian, basically working there as a janitor, named Gunpei Yokoi. And he actually, they let him sit in on meetings, and then he started like giving them advice and creating things for Nintendo. He's the father of the Game Boy.
The father?
Okay.
The Game Boy has a father?
That's why he sounds familiar.
Nintendo invented the Game Boy.
He birthed it out his urethra. Cool. That is one tough sell.
Yeah.
Well, what we have to keep in mind, though, is unpopular as Nintendo can be in America, in Japan, Nintendo is like God. Like, they sell games like 10 times more than what they sell in America.
Aren't they the number one company in Japan?
Yeah, they're the number one company.
The funny thing is their stock is really not worth a whole lot because so much of their financial success is tied to other companies. Like when Pokemon Go came out, Nintendo's stock shot up, and then they were like, "Yeah, we didn't make it.
we don't own it.
We just gave them rights to put Pikachu in their game."
Yeah, very much.
Well, even Breath of the Wild, so much of Breath of the Wild was done by Monolith Soft. So.
Well, a lot of their games are starting to be more like outsourced. Is that right?
Yeah, outsourced is right.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, they've been outsourcing their games heavy since GameCube time, and Nintendo seems like they do very little in-house anymore.
Yeah, but you still have like those first-party Nintendo games that everybody just kind of assumes that is like, oh, Nintendo makes that, when most of their first-party titles aren't made by Nintendo anymore.
Like Metroid Dread.
Except for Mario. Like Mario, is it Mario their only in-house game?
Yeah, Mario.
And Splatoon and ARMS, because ARMS.
Well, Splatoon is not a bad game.
Yeah, I enjoy Splatoon.
ARMS sucks.
I'm waiting for ARMS to not cost $60.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we have to do.
Well, that's the really hard part about Nintendo stuff. Nintendo stuff almost never goes on sale. It stays $60 for forever.
It's like Apple.
The Nintendo tax.
Yeah, it's the Nintendo tax. Yep. You have to pay the Nintendo tax if you want a game.
Absolutely.
I think it's time to move on to the meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes. So
the meat and potatoes.
So this is going to be a hot take, but Arcane, yet another video game adaptation that fails to live up to what the video game is actually like.
The video game has... Well, let's start off with ratings. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for reasons that we'll get into. Brad, I pick you next. Give us your hot take. Pour your whiskey out.
Okay, first I'm going to say I'm going to give this about a 3 out of 10.
Whoa.
Ooh.
And the reason is I've never played League of Legends. I don't know League of Legends. So as someone who knows nothing about League of Legends, this was I couldn't follow it. It didn't tell me enough about the world. It didn't sell me on the game. I think that this is a product specifically made for League of Legends fans and no one else.
Okay.
Right.
Joe, you're up next.
I'm thinking I might give it like a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was some problems, but like I'm a League of Legends fan, so like Brad was saying, if you don't know League of Legends, you probably won't like appreciate it as much. But I've been playing the game for what 10 years now, so I loved it.
David, you got blast.
I simply have to give it a 7.25 just to give it a higher score than Venom or Suicide Squad, because it succeeds where those two failed at having decent pacing and I guess pretty enjoyable, but I got almost completely nothing out of it. The story was okay. It felt generic. It didn't feel like it was its own.
Generic.
It felt really, really generic. Like I've seen this story like 100 other times in other Disney movies, but it was a more adult take on it. The animation and the voice acting were stellar, and not most of that 7 rating is just that. It looks absolutely beautiful. The CG.
CGI.
Yeah,
the
the CGI animation.
The CGI with the 2D animation overlay, cell shading, whatever they did.
Yeah, cell
was
shading.
Absolutely incredible. It was a visual feast. I want more adult shows to look like this. Like Rick and Morty and Star Trek Lower Decks, like I like them for their stories and they're good and they're funny, but I hate the way they look. I mean, the characters. I wish the characters looked like this. This looks awesome. This is how modern adult animation should look. Most of our current animated stuff looks worse than stuff from the 50s. Like Bugs Bunny and stuff, it looks like he was better animated than some stuff we had got nowadays, which is absolutely disgusting. Things should look better than they did back in the day, not the other way around. Things are looking dumber and more dumbed down. Rick and Morty, Lower Decks, Ed, Ed and Eddie, like tons of like more modern shows just look like crap, kind of. And I Arcane looked amazing. I want more adult cartoons to look like this. It was absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful, and I want more things like this in this style of animation. I want more. It was beautiful.
It gives me like Spider-Verse vibes for this one. But the thing is you have to keep in mind is when these shows are made like Lower Decks or whatever, the decision has to be made on what the style is going to look like. And for whatever reason, there's not a lot of shows like Spider-Verse or Arcane that look like this, which makes me think that it's hard to do. I don't even have a clue at how this is made. I don't know any animation behind. Like generally, like Lower Decks, we have an idea. No matter if you know a lot about animation or not, you have an idea of how it's made. This, I have no clue. I don't know how it's made.
I was wondering how much of this was motion captured and how much of it was traditionally animated, because like facial movements and a lot of the stuff looked like really well motion captured, but some of the like the fights and stuff like that had to have been traditionally animated.
Or CG animated. Like that's the thing. It was probably a blend of everything, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a blend of mocap, keyframes, 3D animation for like things you just cannot physically do in real life, and then some hand-drawn animation.
Sure.
I'm guessing it was a perfect blend between all of them. And
I definitely want to say one of the things that blew me away was the eyes. Like my kids watch Troll Hunters and stuff like that, and you just see like these dead-eyed golems on there. And with this, they fixed that because the eyes were drawn, and so they were able to actually draw the emotion into the eyeball, and it just looked so much better than anything that I've seen up to this point. That was absolutely essential because it put the feeling, the emotion, the hatred, the love, the whatever into the eyes. It gave each of the characters a soul.
Which was I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and the voice acting made that pay off in spades. The voice acting, the rage and the sorrow and the guilt and all of the emotions just come through so strong in the performance as well. The performance of the voice actors and the animation sync up so well. Have any of you guys seen The Great Mouse Detective? Because I kept every time like they were in the Undercity.
I thought the same thing.
I kept getting Great Mouse Detective vibes, even though the art style and animation are completely different from that. But I just got the Great
It's
Mouse
like this.
Detective
It's just the
vibe.
way, like the colors or the way it looks or something. It just
I'm glad I'm
The
not
shading, maybe.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
you're not the only one.
'cause
I thought about
Yeah,
that maybe
yeah.
10 times.
I thought about it a lot too. I was like, I'm feeling Great Mouse Detective vibes, even though Great Mouse Detective was a traditional old school 2D Disney animation. Like just the art's direction or the style or the
Yep.
gross under
Yep.
city vibe. I'm like, Great Mouse Detective. Where's the
I
Great
was-
Mouse Detective?
I wasn't even sure if I was gonna bring that up or not because I wasn't sure anybody was gonna know what I was talking about.
I didn't know if it was I was going to talk about either because I'm like oh that's kind of a deep cut even for Disney fans.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
Yeah.
I was when I read up on the show, somebody described it best by saying it's science fantasy. That's really the best way of describing the show.
Science.
Yeah,
fantasy.
I'd agree.
It is science. So the show is broken into 3 parts. Each it has 3 episodes in them. I think maybe the last one has 4. I don't
No,
remember.
3. It's 3.
There's 9
total,
episodes,
3
so-
arcs.
And we follow Jinx or Powder and Vi through most of the show. There are obviously other characters that have significance to them, but those are the main ones that we follow. We
Like
start off with
Naked
Jinx
Star
and Vi
Lady.
as a baby.
Naked
Star Lady?
Scars. She's got scars all over her body, lady. Naked Scar Lady. She's the most important person.
Who's Naked
yeah.
Star Lady?
Mel's
The-
mom,
The
Counselor.
girl's
Oh,
mom.
Oh,
the Noxus.
gotcha. So what I found interesting in what you said, Brad, is that you think and you feel as if the show was designed for people that play League of Legends. I'm surprised you have that take because you don't need to know anything about League to watch this show. In fact, there's almost no relation to the game itself and this show. So I found that to be a little weird. I've seen both sides that people don't like it and they do like it, but the consensus was that you didn't have to play League to understand what was going on. Where did you get like lost?
Well, where I'm getting at is like we don't understand the races of the world. We don't understand, the culture. We don't understand there's no backstory to it. Like we see one of the counselors looks like a robot. I'm like, do they have robot people in this world? We don't understand okay, well, there used to be wizards. Where are they now? I mean, there's not a lot of backstory to it, so I don't know if that's more like from the books or comics or whatever else, or the
Sounds
game.
sounds like we needed an episode of Arcane to be like episode 2 of Wheel of Time, where they do like some backstory talk through a song.
Everything needs a song.
Instead of playing the opening song in universe as an in universe band, which was a very odd.
Oh yeah, Imagine
Take.
Dragons.
Yeah, that was-
they're
that
canon.
was a little weird.
That was a really weird take. They could have had a song and someone explained the song about the backstory of the universe, like in Wheel of Time, instead of this where we got no, like what Brad was saying. I agree. There's no like background info in the world. They just like ask you to accept it as it is without any not even exposition or backstory or anything. There's not any world building for the world. It's just the characters, Vi and Powder / Jinx, that really get all the backstory between them. It's all the human characters. I'm like, yeah, we know how humans work. There's a daddy who loves each other and a mommy who loves each other, and then they do the thing. And but everyone else in the world is like, I don't know what these races are, or the little dwarf thing is like, I'm been alive for 900 years or whatever. And
See,
then
here's
as
where
far as we
I
get
think
with the lore.
I agree with you with both of what you said. That a lot of the characters aren't explained about other races and stuff like that. But for me, the way I see it is that I think this is going to be the start into introducing this world in shows. There's going to be obviously more seasons and other stuff they're going to do. But I was comparing this a lot to Iron Man in 2008. When baby Brian, back when he saw Iron Man, I didn't know who Thor was. I didn't know really Marvel characters. I knew DC characters. I didn't know Marvel because that's not what I grew up with. And that's kind of how I see Arcane now, because most characters in the League of Legends universe are significantly more powerful than the characters that are shown in this show. And I think they wanted to make these characters more relatable to us rather than just dropping like gods and super powerful robots and great beings right off the bat. So people had a way to get invested into them. Because if you're just dropping like all these wizards and crazy stuff that's going on, it's harder to follow for me as well. I think that's part of the Wheel of Time thing that I'm having a problem with, because there's a lot that's going on and I'm not able to follow. So I feel like they wanted to make a more grounded story, which was okay because the story was kind of generic. There was a lot of tropes that they followed. It's just really that the story was executed well.
Well, and I'll give you that, but part of the problem is that from the very beginning, it takes a while for them to actually establish who are the good guys and who are really the bad guys. And
well, that might be part of it too, because I think it's like kind of everyone has a gray area too.
Yeah,
kind of it, because like, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was just saying my problem with the show is I didn't care about anyone until like the 5th episode when you find out that Powder's Jinx, and I'm like, oh, that's Jinx. Okay, that's the only character I'm familiar with from League of Legends in the show. I don't know Vi at all. Like, I don't know who she is or what she does. I think I've seen a picture of her from League of Legends, but I don't know anything about her. I've seen a bajillion cosplayers of Jinx, and I feel so bad for them that their sister abandoned every single one of them. I just kind of want to go give them a hug, that they've had such a shitty life that they're
you want to give Jinx a hug?
Jinx. No, all the cosplayers who are Jinx, because they've also had the same backstory as Jinx. Otherwise, they wouldn't have cosplayed her, right?
She's just discount Harley Quinn.
It was, and after I finished episode 9 and I started doing my research, that I figured out, I'm like, why does she have a number 6 tattooed on her face? And it's like, oh, it's her name's Violet. It's okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the way they have her for sure.
Yeah.
Now there's the first 3 episodes were definitely, I think, the weakest in all the acts. I think the first 3 were the weakest, except for the ending of episode 3, which is where child murder happens and kind of Jinx becomes Jinx.
For the first time, there's more child murder.
Yeah, there is more child murder later on. But like the beginning, like I wasn't super invested into the show for episode 1 and 2 until episode 3, when that final, like, I don't know what act, the final act of season 3 happened, where Vander, who is the kind of like adopted father to all the kids. I don't know the 2 that died as well.
He's those 2 also.
The Powder Keg Gang.
For the kids.
Yeah, they're a kid gang. And then once Jinx like accidentally kills pretty much everybody, that's when I kind of got invested.
Yeah.
After that, I was in for the ride.
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't get invested at least until I knew Powder was Jinx, because then, oh, that's a character I'm familiar with. And then
yeah, Jinx is cool.
Yeah,
I think she was my favorite character. I don't know about you guys. Actually, there's characters in this show that have significance that aren't actually characters in League the game at all. There's a good amount of them that are like playable characters, but there's also characters that are new to this show, and I feel like they didn't really tell you who to care about. I think, from at least what I can remember, they all had like their own like story to them. Each one they spent time on for you to like try to make you care about these characters, whether they succeeded or not. Like, Brad, why are you drinking? What do you think? You think I'm wrong? What do you got?
Like, no, it's just thirsty.
Like what was like Silco's second man or woman, the one with the blade at hand?
Yeah.
Like she's in that fits that role pretty well, I think. Where like she's like like you don't really care about her, and then you like kind of build up a story with her. Like, does she betray Silco? Does she want to stay on his side? You know?
Sure. What did you guys think about the music? Did the music stand out to you at all?
No.
I think it was funny that even in the credits they're like, and Imagine Dragons as themselves.
Oh yeah, they did have the Imagine. Yeah, they did show that. I don't like that they added them.
I was
That
like,
name
"Well,
like
that's
that.
cool. They got them for the opening music. You know, they got an original song there." And then it was like you kept on hearing more music, and then it's like you see the band in the game in the show, and I'm like, "Come
Yeah,
on, guys."
I rolled my
Shut it
eyes
down.
hard at that. I mean, the music for the intro was fine. Like I like a good song or a good thing with a beat for the intro, because say what you will about Black Sails, the opening music was freaking awesome. I absolutely
Black
love,
Sails?
yeah, I love the Black Sails opening like bagpipe rock music. It was amazing.
It was really? You thought are we talking about the music or the show? Did you like Black Sails the show?
I said, say what you will about the show. The
Oh, okay.
opening music for
I
the
didn't catch that
intro was
part.
awesome.
I did not catch that part.
I thought the show was all right.
So there are
I watched all the seasons.
of Black Sails.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm into it. So after
I was excited that Blackbeard was a girl with a really big bush. I mean, I was like, oh, okay, that's Blackbeard.
the
All
show
right.
does have some twists and turns in it that are
And
not
and we got to see keel hauling. Oh my god! Yeah, I've heard what keel hauling was, but seeing keel hauling, man, that's rough to watch.
Yeah, that's no joke.
That was really nuts. I mean, so I really like. I really like Black Sails. Black Sails wasn't bad. I could have done with some more Black Sails.
I don't think they're gonna make anymore.
I really wish they would have like followed it up with like it's just a prequel to Treasure Island. I wish they would have just followed it up with a Treasure Island series with the same actors. That would have been fun.
Sure.
But yeah, the rest of the music, back to Arcane, the rest of the music didn't stick out to me at all. Like I said, the visuals and the actors' performances, the only thing that stood out for me about the show. Everything else felt kind of generic.
See, I really enjoyed the music. Like I was before this podcast, I was actually listening to the soundtrack on Spotify of like because like they have like the range is like very out there, like Imagine Dragons, yeah, all that. But then they also have like Pusha T, and they have Sting doing the final song the whole season. That when Jinx goes and shoots a rocket, that's Sting singing that song,
Oh,
which is like crazy to think about.
so
I mean,
that's
he
tying
was
back to Dune.
and he was naked. in
And
Dune.
it all comes back
Yeah,
to Dune.
Dune, yeah.
The spice must flow.
Him and his little blue diaper thing.
Oh god,
Gotta love
was
that.
gross. No, you don't gotta love that.
No, Brian, he wanted to do it naked, but they wouldn't let him.
I know he
They
wanted to
gave-
do it naked,
gave
and they didn't let him.
They
Thank
gave
God.
him a blue diaper thingy.
He's a weird looking guy, man. I don't know. He's just a weird looking.
He looked like
he's
he
a
was
weird
super
looking
into it, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he wanted to be naked in it.
He's committed to the role. He's an actor. He's a professional. You know.
I don't know if that's commitment to that role.
That is commitment.
That's his commitment to himself.
You know,
He
you
just
say that,
wanted to be
He's
naked.
like, I know my song is good enough to be on screen. He's like, I'm proud of it. I know it'll be there. It'll be good.
He wanted to be naked so he could witness his body like 50 years later.
Yeah. He was
That's
like,
what I
man.
used to look like.
He's like, man, yeah. He just
you know,
whips
you
up.
say that, but Patrick Stewart, Chain of Command Part 1, he wanted to do the scene where they stripped him naked on set.
He was naked on set.
So they closed the set and they did it.
That's weird. If I was ever acting, I would never want like that to happen.
I would not volunteer. Like I want to be naked.
Well, with
No.
Patrick Stewart for the role, he was he was being imprisoned and tortured, and he watched a lot of like Amnesty International videos, and he wanted to represent that completely. So I mean, he was just committed to the role.
You know what's
that's a good
ironic? There's an episode previous to Chain of Command where Data is playing Scrooge, and Data wants to do method acting, and Patrick Stewart Picard's like, oh, why would you want to do method acting? And then apparently Stewart himself does method acting for being naked in Chain of Command. That's just funny.
Chain of Command.
That's the episode where Patrick Stewart's naked.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It's honestly one of the best of Next Generation.
Oh, fantastic episode.
That episode?
It's a two-parter. Mm-hmm.
Two-parter. So it's 40 minutes
Total?
No,
70
because the
70
Star
minutes.
Trek episodes are half hour.
No,
they're an hour.
that's just Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Lower Decks are shorter.
Yeah, no, Chain of Command is like a movie. It really is.
Yeah, it's like 90 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
So I want to talk a little bit about a character that is not super shown this season. Is Singed, who's the doctor who saves Jinx. He is like the mad scientist guy. When Jinx is about to die, Silco takes Jinx to him to save him.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I didn't know was when they like bring her back, I don't understand how she like came back to life because she was like pretty much blown up, and then they like bring her back, and now I was trying to figure out if that is what makes her crazy, or did she already have problems and she was going crazy without like the way she was brought back?
She was going crazy before.
Yeah, she was definitely going crazy before.
Yeah.
Like you saw her talking to herself, and she made pictures or figures of the other kids that she killed.
Well, she also showed.
She talked to them.
She had like she also had the animation crazy faces over people's faces before that happened. So she was already losing it before.
Yeah.
She made models of the friends of hers that had died and had them on the couch in her office.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
okay,
but
because her eyes change color after she like gets revived.
I think that was a process of what he probably did. He probably injected the shimmer, right? That's what's called.
Yeah,
the purple stuff. He probably injected shimmer into her to bring her back to life, and that probably caused like purple eyes or something like that. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm also violent.
You have purple eyes now, or red eyes, or whatever.
Purple eyes and full Harley Quinn at that point.
There's a scene on when they're on the bridge and they're about to fight, and they show Jinx. She's on like top of the bridge, like her hair's like hanging down, and she's like debating whether or not like she wants to be on Vi's side or not, and they animate like all the dead kids that are like behind her. I don't know if you guys know what scene I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I thought that was so cool. I've never seen like craziness portrayed that way. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah.
But that also leads to where I had a problem with this show is when they're walking across this bridge, they're trying to get back to the main city, and Vi says like she can't leave without Jinx. So she starts walking back, and then all of a sudden Caitlin, who's the sheriff, gets like blown up by fireflies or bombs or whatever that Jinx did. And immediately Vi like abandons Jinx and she like goes and helps Caitlin immediately. So in one scene, like 5 minutes before, she says, "I'm going to save Jinx." And then like 5 minutes later, she's like, "Screw this. I'm going to save Caitlin."
Well, she can't scissor Jinx later, but if she saves Caitlyn, she could totally scissor Caitlyn later.
I see. I call this the Dexter school of writing, where you say, "I do everything for my son," and then 10 minutes later, like, leave off and never see your kid again. So, I mean, it's one of these things where, again, it's just kind of rushed writing. That was one of the big complaints I saw online, was everybody actually liked the first arc and didn't like the last arc because they rushed with their storytelling. They didn't take the time and attention to build up the people.
But that's one of the main reasons why it's not like 10 out of 10 for me is 9 out of 10, because a lot of it was rushed. And like there's characters like Victor's assistant, the girl that he kills accidentally. That I had the name was, I actually had to look it up because I remember Sky. Because you don't know anything about her. And she just like, they try to make it like impactful that she dies, and like you just don't care about her.
Yeah, I hate that when they do a thing and they try to make it sad, and it's like, oh, it's not sad. You've never talked about this character before. It's not gonna make me sad.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything to me.
I hate when they do that in TV shows. It's like, oh, we've ignored this character for 16 episodes. Here, let's make the episode about them. I'm like, oh, you're gonna kill her, aren't you?
Why? Just just go back to the main characters.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're gonna kill this person, aren't you? Since you've all of a sudden taken the time to look at them. Yeah, I don't know what it is with modern tropes. They're really bad. They need to stop. You want us to care about a character, give them equal screen time early on, and then when they're gone, it's a shock. Like early Game of Thrones.
See, that's what you're talking about. The finger thing means the money. You know, that would mean we've got to get somebody and give him some lines and shoot some extra scenes and give him a backstory to make you care about them just to kill them off. I mean, that's throwing money away, man.
You don't think of it that way. I guess
it's
that is
not-
true.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess so.
It's true, but it's not impactful, and it doesn't make it's a modern trope. I feel like that's only started to happen relatively recently, in the last 5-10 years, where they just all of a sudden will write in a character that's out of nowhere, and then they'll kill them, try to make you feel sad. I'm like, well, why? I don't care. It's one episode.
Yeah, like I mean, when Ned Stark died at the end of the first season of Game of Thrones, it's like,
That
oh
was
my god,
impactful. That was impactful.
You're
Yeah.
thinking he's going to be the main character of this series, and then it's like that happens, and wow.
Yeah, and then it all changes.
Yep.
Yeah, and they killed his wife, and they killed most of his kids. It's just like, ugh.
Well, pretty much they all die except like 2 of them.
Well, that's the
And
thing.
then,
That's
suddenly everyone develops plot armor.
yeah. About halfway through.
I like when nobody develops plot armor, and it feels like everybody anybody could go at any second.
Yeah, I like that, and that's I don't know. That's what I was hoping.
But there's
for
not
Discovery.
there's not many shows that really make me feel like nobody's safe. Most of them are like in not even talking about Arcane. There's very few main characters in any show I watch or movie where I'm like, that person can die. But every episode you'd see in Game of Thrones, it'd be like, that person will die.
Yeah, it's not a question of if, it's a when.
That's the thing. Like with Game of Thrones, I feel like that's like the one time this is ever gonna be a show to do that, because nothing has really tried to replicate that in storytelling.
Like
Oh,
Battle of the Bastards with Jon Snow and what's his name? Ramsay? I thought for sure Jon Snow was gonna die in that fight. But I guess actually, you know what? Jon Snow did have plot armor. He literally came back to life.
Yeah,
He's the one that had plot armor.
He was already dead. Yes.
Jon
was
had
dead.
plot armor. Arya had plot armor. Who's the other sister?
Sansa.
Sansa. She had plot armor.
Well, okay. I think we're taking this a little bit too far. There has to be some characters that have plot armor. They can't literally kill every single character in the show.
they can.
Why not?
But that's the thing. That's what I mean. In early Game of Thrones, you never knew who was gonna die, and then like by season 4, pretty much everyone was safe.
Yep.
Like it's like, you know, they'd killed all the people in seasons like 1 through 3, and then the show got a lot more safe going forward. But still, like
the key here is if all of a sudden they develop a personality, you're about to die. I.e., Robb Stark. He did nothing, and now all of a sudden I fell in love, and we're gonna have a baby. Dead.
Yeah. And then in Star Trek Discovery, Ariam, a background.
There's the other one.
We see a background character for 2 whole seasons, and then toward the end of the second season, they give a whole episode about her. Then they kill her. I'm like, well, that's that.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah,
as soon as they start telling you about the character.
Yeah, it's so obvious. It's so blatantly obvious, and it's a really bad trope, and they really need to stop doing that. Only kill a character that we care about. Actually, in Star Trek Discovery, they did kill a character out of nowhere, and it was amazing. And then what they did was they brought him back to life.
Yep, Hugh Culber.
And then they spent the entire episode him being sad about being brought back to life.
Or they just throw somebody in the middle of the bridge with like no backstory, i.e. Lieutenant Hawk from First Contact.
Yes. Well, they needed a new comms officer, because tactical officers, because Worf went to DS9.
Yep. It's like, well, he's a red shirt. He's done.
He's a Borg now.
Yeah.
Reeling it back in a little bit here.
What?
I want to talk about Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger is the.
Whoa! We don't talk about our Heimerdingers.
We're going to talk about our dongers now. We're going to talk about the dongers. All the dongers.
That sounds obscene. Are we going to be able to be okay?
Yeah, this is going everywhere. It's fine.
Yeah,
I talked to the YouTube CEO lady. She said she's fine with talking about dongers. But Heimerdinger he's an ex. Well, he's the little like puffball guy that was on the council.
Stay Puft,
and then he gets
midget.
Exactly
the yellow one, yeah.
And then he gets to become a fried marshmallow, and he goes and gets kicked off the council. A problem I had here was they say he was on this board of people for like 100 years, and he said that we can't advance this technology any farther because bad things will happen, like he's seen. They don't ever tell us what he's seen to make it bad.
Yeah,
I don't
think
know
that's-
if they're trying to set something up or whatever, because his story's not done because now he's just like in the underground city.
Just trust
But-
the little puffball.
Yeah, just
Well,
trust the little puffball that bad
Blindly
things are gonna
trust him
happen.
because he's cute.
Well, I think part of it is this is where like knowledge of League Past comes in, where like when he's talking about 300 years ago, there's been problems going on, and it shows like the world in ruin, kind of to like a still world in ruin. In the League of Legends lore, it's like they call it the Rune Wars, and it's pretty much magic just destroyed the world, pretty much, and that's where he's coming from. Like, can't let magic destroy everything.
And that's cool. Tell us again. Tell us about it in the show. I mean, we see pictures and we get a feeling, but it's like, okay, what happened? Who was this wizard guy? You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why is magic bad? Magic ruined the world. Why did magic ruin the world? Did magic ruin the world on its own? Like,
greed.
Did this fork make me fat, or were people bad? You know
People
what I mean?
were
Like,
just greedy, I think.
that's the thing. It's like magic, like things in themselves generally aren't bad. It's how people use them is how they become bad.
Yeah, and like magic,
Well-
I think magic still exists in the world. I think just not in like Piltover because it's science based.
Mhm.
But and like it's based around like, oh, we don't have magic, so we're gonna focus on science. But everyone else in the world still has that magic in it, which is like the Rune Wars was just greed with magic, pretty much.
And even when they get into, okay, well, his blood activates the runes and whatever like that, and it's like, again,
They don't explain it.
Yeah, they don't explain that at all.
yeah.
It just kind of like is happening.
I understand the law of equivalent exchange. Okay, I've played enough Dungeons and Dragons. I understand all this stuff, but it's like, just give me a few pointers. Give me an idea. What are the rules of the magic of this world? I mean, Brian, you read a lot of Brandon Sanderson. All the magic systems make sense in his books.
Well, most like high level fantasy authors, generally the magic does for the most part make sense in almost all of them. Brandon Sanderson has like a whole book dedicated to magic, but like even in Lord of the Rings, like the magic makes sense. We're told why, and it can. Wheel of Time sounds like it's also makes sense.
Well, I
Once
mean,
you-
episode 4 was almost all about how the magic system worked. Because they,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's where we're getting a little bit of the video game curse, where like anything that's adapted from a video game to a TV show or movie kind of suffers from, because nothing really translates to, if you're playing a video game, to a movie. Like all the Mortal Kombat movies, they're garbage, and they don't really explain. Like if you will watch a Mortal Kombat movie, you're watching the Mortal Kombat movie because you already know who Scorpion is. They don't really. Well, I guess Scorpion's really the only one they'll ever explain.
You're going in to watch
Well, like-
fights.
Well, speaking of Mortal Kombat, the most recent Mortal Kombat movie, its biggest flaw is the fact that the main character is someone who isn't in any of the games. Like, if it was just Scorpion, like reincarnated, that would have been cool. But like the fact that it's like some new guy.
Well, isn't the main character like Scorpion's like family line or family something?
But if it was Scorpion reincarnated, that would have been cooler instead of just a unique character who's never been in the game before. Like, that was a big dropping the ball, because the movie could have been pretty good. Because I mean, from a spectacle, that movie was great to watch. The fights were great. The special effects were great. It was a fun movie to watch. It was just bad because the story was dumb, because they invented a brand new character that was never in the games. I mean, they could have tied one of the other characters to Scorpion somehow. That would have been fine. But why make a new character?
Well, they could have tied Sub-Zero to him. Oh wait, they did, didn't they?
Yes, they did. No, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, have someone else have a known character be the main character.
Kano.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Kano, everyone's favorite.
Yeah, he was
I mean,
amazing.
he loved that role.
He was
he
a-
like lived that role.
He was amazing. All his bickering, A+. I want laser
Yeah, he was
eyes.
great.
Yeah, I got laser eyes. Yeah, it's great.
Kano was fantastic
He was
in
a-
that
he-
movie.
he
I
was
don't really like
amazing.
the character, but like the actor was so passionate about playing Kano that like I feel like he turned into like what Heath Ledger did with the Joker.
Yeah,
He like
He
turned
turned
into the
into Kano.
Joker.
Yeah,
he turned into Kano.
I mean, I don't like the character Kano in the games either, but he was the most charismatic on screen for
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
he understood what kind of movie he was making.
Yes, no one else
Yeah.
did.
That's what you need to do
a
at that
movie that
point.
nobody's gonna really like.
You know, it's Raul Julia in Street Fighter. I mean, he knew what he was there for.
Ah, man, he was amazing as M. Bison. God, that
Oh,
was awesome.
absolutely.
He did the thing.
Too bad
Like
nobody else
in
was good.
in Mortal Kombat,
Except for
they
Ming
had
Na Wen.
there's one scene where oh gosh, he keeps getting like leg swiped. It happens like 3 times in a row. What's the other ninja's guy's name? It was a call to the video game. What happens in the video game where it knocks you down? There's a move that just
Kano, yeah,
like,
the leg sweep,
yeah, with the leg sweep. Like that was a call to
the video game, yeah.
the video game. In Arcane, they have that, but I wish it was more prevalent. Like there are things that happen that you'll only notice if you play the game. Like they'll show like an item you can buy in the game, or they'll show a nod to another character that's in the game. I wish there was something that was more like they did the thing. They did the
where's
thing.
where's
Yeah.
the 3 lanes? Where's the big castles
Yeah,
at
like,
the end, each
I
end
thought
of
it
the
would
3
be cool
lanes?
if they like
Middle lane
had
on
like a
Dark.
couple jokes just like to the game itself, but I don't know. That's just what I
It
think
doesn't
about that.
translate. Doesn't translate at all.
Yeah.
No, the
Yeah,
show is
I think
nothing
trying
like
to
playing
leave
the
it-
game.
It's
I
like
think
it's like
trying to leave
trying to
it.
it's like trying to make a battleship game off of the board game, right? Or a battleship.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. That was a movie.
That movie was awful.
Exactly. Like there's things you could reasonably make a video game adaptation from a movie. Like Zelda. Zelda's got enough story and backstory that you could take any one of the games and expand it into feature length or condense it, because there's a lot of fluff in Zelda games as far as gameplay goes. So you could do a 2-hour story of Zelda and it could be fulfilling.
Yeah, but I won't put trust in that though.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying anyone would do it right, but
You're getting Mario.
Yeah.
You're not
saying-
getting Zelda.
Yeah, Mario. There you go.
I'm saying it's theoretically possible.
I mean, Mario is actually probably easier than Zelda.
Mario
No,
doesn't
what?
have any story.
Mario
though.
doesn't have a
Exactly.
story.
You don't need to worry about like following a game.
Oh, but that's the thing.
Create your own story.
When we did get the Mario story, they changed it too much from the game. Goombas were super tall with small heads. King Koopa was a dude who looked like Donald Trump. I mean, what's going on?
Well, you can't even. I don't even know how they're gonna make a video game out of Mario.
Yeah.
A video game out of Mario? Really?
No, I mean,
There's been a
a
couple.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I got the
weird.
answer. Poorly. They're going to make it poorly.
You have no faith it'll be the 10 out of 10 movie of your lifetime.
Well, since Chris Pratt refuses to do a Mario accent, it's gonna be pretty weird.
It's
I can't
me,
believe that.
Mario.
This dude really. First of all, they don't even get the guy that actually plays Mario
In all the games,
Oh,
yeah.
he's in the movie. Just
Yeah, he's in
As,
the
like,
movie.
small
He's just
roles.
he's not Mario though.
he's
And then
just like
Chris Pratt says in an
He's a
interview that
Goomba.
he's not doing a Mario impression. He's just gonna do his own thing. And the director's like, "Yeah, it sounds good." Like, what? What do you mean?
It's like-
Mario's been around for 50 years. Give us what we
Mario.
know.
Well, I'm
wanna
interested
listen
in
to
what they're
the
doing with the Borderlands movie. They had Jack Black as Claptrap, Kate Blanchett as the Siren. Like, I like Kate Blanchett. She's a good actor, but this is like an action movie, Terminator type role, like violent shooting movie. Kate Blanchett seems a little on the old side for like that kind of character.
You
For
say
Lilith?
that, I said the same thing about Timura Morrison as Boba Fett. Because he's 60 years old and
Well,
Same
they'll
type
just
of
swap
thing.
her out when she needs to like walk or something. They'll just get a stunt double when she needs to
Yeah.
walk. She's not that old. She played
Yeah.
Helena in
Yeah,
Thor.
that's what I thought.
She
went
did
to.
okay. I didn't
I
have
thought it was
like a
pretty
problem with Helena.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's been years, and it's going to be another couple years before Borderlands comes out. You know what,
What
I
I
mean?
have a
Like,
problem with is Jack Black being Claptrap. That's what I have a
And
problem
Bowser.
with. Because Claptrap is not a human. They already have a voice for Claptrap.
Yeah,
Why are they
Claptrap-
making him Jack Black?
I don't know. Claptrap is a very unique. I'm wondering if Jack Black's gonna try and do a Claptrap voice. I don't know. It's gonna be weird.
Or is he gonna be Jack Black?
He's probably
Hello,
just gonna be
I am
Black.
Jack. I mean Claptrap.
I'm Tenacious D.
He's just his character.
He's just gonna sing the entire time.
That would be a very Claptrap thing to do, though.
It would be. I would not mind. Claptrap singing Tenacious D songs would be hilarious.
He's like,
I want them to have
I gotta
Moxie
be
in there.
Claptrap in 5 minutes. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
Do we know if Moxie's gonna be in the movie?
She better be in the movie.
I would assume she would be, but I don't know.
She's like
I don't
a.
think it's- I don't think
Who's
it's
playing
announced.
her? We don't know who playing her.
I don't think she's announced,
They've
but I
only
wouldn't be
announced.
surprised.
I think they've only announced the core cast. They've announced Tiny Tina. They've announced Claptrap.
Lilith, right?
Lilith.
Is
Kate
Lilith is
Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett.
Kevin Hart is in it, right? I think.
Yeah,
Isn't he like Roland?
Kevin Hart's
right?
Roland.
That's like the opposite of what I thought. Isn't
Yeah.
Roland's like a big military guy?
Kevin Hart's
is
like a
And then you
midget.
got Kevin Hart coming in.
Here's the thing: is that part of where, and I'm going to give Arcane a little bit of credit here, is that part of where they succeed and a lot of these video game movies fail is the fact that instead of trying to nail the costumes and the makeup and the looks and coming off as a bunch of cosplayers, why don't they just do these movies animated like this? Why don't they do a Borderlands that actually looks cel shaded like the games and skip the costumes, skip all the sets, skip all that stuff, and just CG it like this show did?
Well, I think one of the things is too is that this took 6 years to make. I think. So I think a lot of people don't want to put in that time to like. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a scene, but it's gonna take 6 years to release it. And it's gonna take 6 years of them funding it, which
Well,
is the sad thing. But
The studio is
that
also
happened
small.
with,
It's not a large studio.
that's true.
That happened with Life of Pi, where the studio that made the movie like got shut down before they even won their Academy Award because they just went bankrupt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the downside. I will say that's something that Arcane did solidify. I'm making up words.
Yep, solidify.
That I do agree with you, Brett. I think at least most video game movies or TV shows should be animated. There's certain things that just don't come across if you have real people going on.
Yeah.
And you can show more like emotion. Like we already talked about, the animation, they were able to show like this emotion that you don't even really get with real people. Because you can like over exaggerate how these characters look rather than a real person. Like you can't make a real person do some of the stuff or have people show up behind them or whatever unless you use CG. And then we get into Netflix's Death Note, which was awful.
Oh man, yeah.
And we're not trying to go there. Just keep it animated.
Oh, it was so bad.
or even better yet, Cowboy Bebop for Netflix. That just got canceled for season 2.
I
That
wonder
also
why.
it was
The
awful.
person
I watched
reading
I watched all of it.
Reading the Japanese social media reactions to Cowboy Bebop, where they're like, "Why is this old man cosplaying as Spike?"
Everything about the Netflix's Cowboy Bebop was like not Cowboy Bebop. It was just bad. It was oh god. I could go on.
Flashbacks.
Oh.
I mean,
But
the only
fair,
thing
like,
good about the live action Death Note was Willem Dafoe as Rook.
Real, yeah.
That was
he
the
Well, he
only-
wasn't
that was
he
the
was, like-
only good part.
He was mostly CG though.
Oh, but still, he didn't. They didn't even need to CG him because he's scary looking just by himself.
His face already is scary. I'm glad I don't have
Just
to
give
wake
him a
up to
black wig with spiky hair. Like,
Yeah, during the credits, they showed that he wore a rig and they actually captured his face and everything like that for his performance. So I
Yeah.
mean, it was more than like just him voicing it. He
Yeah.
actually did do the
Yeah. But there
Yeah.
was like some modifications going on.
Oh,
It wasn't
sure.
like just
Wasn't just
standing there
him.
with a black wig.
Him with a
This-
wig on.
This wasn't Dune 2000 for the TV series.
did you watch Dune 2000 yet?
I might have.
Oh yeah. Did you see all the eye cancer of all the different costumes that didn't mesh
Yeah,
together at all?
The story is the story's better than the original, from the 80s, movie, but like the costume and everything else is
It's
just like
so bad.
they went to like the dollar store and they're like, this works.
Like, they went to Spirit Halloween.
You know what? They might have gone to like a Party City.
Might just got a costume here or there.
They might have gone to a Party City. I'm not sure.
Theater.
Yeah.
Well,
Good old Dune. It all comes back to Dune.
everything goes.
Spice will
Everything goes. The spice will flow in every piece of media that we watch until the end of time. Until the wheel of time.
The Wheel of Time.
The
Good
spice
God.
will flow until the wheel of time.
I hope so.
Speaking of wheel of time,
Oh, yes?
that's going to be our next podcast, right?
Our next podcast, that'll be at the beginning of the new year. This is our last podcast for this year, considering our normal podcast day is on Saturday, so 2 weeks from yesterday would put us on Christmas. So, yeah, that's a no-go.
Which again, when you've got Wheel of Time going on Amazon, why on earth did they just drop The Expanse right in the middle of that?
The first
You'll
episode
have-
was great.
Could they have waited just a few more weeks
Nope.
till Christmas is over
Nope.
and Wheel of Time is over and then drop The Expanse?
Nope.
There might be different contracts or something that just like this is when it has to come out by.
Well, it's sad. They really should have waited to the end of Wheel of Time because Expanse is only 6 episodes. That's shorter than Wheel of Time by 2.
Well, clearly that shows that they're not worried about people canceling their subscription.
It's over.
Yeah. Well, anybody have any closing thoughts? Besides email, just email David. Email at synthaholics@yahoo.com. Email
And
David.
if we do get them, we will read them
Email.
we'll read them on the air. So we'll read them and answer them as we are able.
Just
but-
email them. Send them an email.
But yeah,
Just
I
do
mean, like it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was definitely better than Venom. So that's why I've got to give it a 7.25 because Venom, I think I gave a 7, and Venom was not good.
I'm surprised you can keep track of what you rate everything.
Yeah.
I only can remember the stuff I like really like.
You know what?
Like there's some
the thing is-
stuff we watched that
the
is like
thing-
questionable.
The thing is, most things I haven't liked, I've given like around the 7. So like,
Man, what's it gonna take to get you to a 1?
a 1, man.
Yeah, what do we gotta watch?
like-
what? Give us email David some suggestions.
You know, they went a 1 out of 10 show.
Matrix, the Matrix Reloaded, the Matrix Revolutions are both about a 1.
I will say, I do feel that kind of giving this a 3 after we've talked about it might have been a little bit low. I am still going to stick with that score, but I will say I would give this a shot again for the second season. I'm just a little concerned that it's going to go like kind of with the second Matrix movie, where now they try and squeeze in all this backstory in their sophomore episodes, and now we're going to get all the exposition and all the parlor scenes and a lot less action in the second season.
Well, this is what season 2 is going to tell me is if this whole thing that they're trying to do over at Riot Games is going to succeed or not. Because out of the League lore that I know, we've got a very tiny piece of what they have. They've hinted that the Scar Lady is from a different region, which has significantly stronger characters in it, which are way more impactful on the world than what these people are. These people that like Vi and Jinx, they're really nothing compared to what
Yeah,
is
they're
rest.
They're just regular
exactly
people.
shown.
They're
Yeah.
they're pretty much just they're like maybe they're a little elevated from regular people. Like I don't think I could beat up Vi.
Yeah,
But like
that fight scene though.
Well, you're
Single
also
fight.
not a trained MMA fighter.
no, she's not
Maybe she
either
is.
though.
She's not either.
She-
She's a
she-
street dog.
She might
You
as
know
well
what?
be a trained MMA fighter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like, do they want to make this world into something like an extended universe? And if they're going to succeed, we're going to see in season 2, because they're going to have to branch out to other areas. Because as far as I know, unless they start making new stuff, we're kind of at the end of like these characters show. I don't know who's going to be the villain for next season. They don't really. Is it just going to be like the the main city
They
versus
have,
the
to,
small
they,
city.
they have to group up together,
maybe.
go down the 3 lanes, and destroy the towers.
You know what?
That's
would
season
actually,
2.
Brian, that's
Yeah.
a good point. It would be a lot better if they started a side story with some different characters and just kind of crossed over a little bit. That would be I would be interested in that, seeing another story inside this world.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I read an article back when the show was still coming out that they said because it was so successful the first, I think it was like after first arc, so the first episode, it was so successful, they already like are planning to do like a MCU kind of move. But they also said that they don't care if it doesn't cater to everyone, so I don't know how it's going to be. It might turn out really good, might be too niche, you know?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I rather things not care about pleasing everyone, because whenever you try to please everyone, you please nobody, which is
Yeah.
really annoying. In Star Wars is trying to go down that route. Star Trek's been trying to go down that route, and it's not been successful. Except for some things like The Mandalorian, which is it just leans hard onto its niche and it doesn't deviate from it, and that's why it's been good. But with the actual movie, trying to please everyone and failing miserably.
You can't.
So
You can't please
Yeah.
everyone.
So
at least please the fans.
yeah, I
Yep,
mean
that's what you gotta look for.
that's the thing. That you gotta
Which
like
is-
lean into your niche. And
Yeah.
I'm not a LOL fan, so if the next season still doesn't super appeal to me, like that's fine. I'm not a fan of the games.
Yeah, well, if anybody ever thought about playing the game based on Arcane, don't.
Yeah,
The game is
not a good
nothing. The
representation at all.
game is nothing like Arcane at all.
It's
I just would like
No.
to see more of the different regions, because there's a pirate region, there's a ninja region, there's a
There's a
desert one,
sand region.
there's a Lovecraftian horror one. There's
Yeah.
a lot of different ones. It's just they picked the
And
The
pick
one that I
the
think humans can
simplest
relate
and
to.
most relatable.
Yeah. Well, email David at synthaholics@yahoo.com. I'm gonna say it forever, every time,
all right,
even though nobody ever will.
join our Discord. Our Discord link should now be working.
It was not working before, as I found out.
It should be working today. It should be working now, though. So sorry about that. I didn't realize it expired. But we got a permanent one on there now, so should be all set for anyone who wants to join the Discord and just chat with us when we're not around. Oh, well, we're not podcasting anyway.
And our next podcast will be Wheel of Time
We have time
in January,
in January,
unless
then-
we have an emergency grouping
unless
and we
have an
decide
emergency-
to do something that we haven't thought of yet. Like, well, there's definitely the Spider-Man.
God,
We're gonna do
there's-
Spider-Man.
we gotta
yeah,
do
that's
Spider-Man.
coming out.
Spider-Man.
We gotta do
We've talked about Spider-Man for 6 months. We have to do Spider-Man now.
we gotta do Spider-Man at some
Every
point.
episode, Spider-Man somehow finds a way, and now ever since Dune somehow finds a way.
Yeah. Life finds a way. So we
Exactly.
got Spider-Man, we've got Book of Boba Fett coming out, which we'll probably cover once the season's over, like Arcane, just kind of doing them as they're ending. Expanse season 6, which
Which
been
is the
great so
final
far.
season, by the way.
The final season. Even though it's 9 books, there's only 6 seasons. That's sad. Missing a third of the story.
That show has had nothing but problems and trying to be created.
Well, the thing is, there's a 30-year gap in between book 6 and book 7, so I guess they don't want to age up people. But the thing is, all you got to do is put some crow's feet and gray their hair a little bit, because if Star Trek has taught me anything, they always overestimate when they age people up. You look at Patrick Stewart aged up, and look at him now, he looks more like he does in Next Gen normally than he does when they aged him up. Same thing with Kirk when they aged him up in the old Star Trek series. Like every time they age someone up with old age makeup, they go way too hard, and they actually look a lot better than that in real life. So just pepper their hair with a little bit of gray. That's all you need to do. Like, just, it's simple. Like, they're 30 years older. Fine. Boom, go.
I mean, there's probably a little bit more problems than just that. There's got to be something else going on.
I mean, it might be a money thing, because again, the last season's only 6 episodes.
Do either one of you know
Painfully
how
short.
expensive it is to make that show? I'd imagine it's pretty expensive. It's not. They're not like.
Well,
I know they cut the budget when they went to Amazon.
Well, the thing is, and I was surprised how good the budget was on Sci-Fi, because Sci-Fi usually lowballs people for budget, and the first couple seasons look amazing. I mean, the experiences looked consistently amazing throughout, which is why I'm kind of like,
yeah, the reason behind that was Sci-Fi Channel only had the rights. They only made money on the initial broadcast of The Expanse. That's why it didn't rerun. They got no money on DVD sales. They got no money on any of it. That's part of why Sci-Fi canceled it, was because they basically were making almost nothing on it.
which is amazing considering it looked as good as it did. So I mean, I'm glad it looks good and it well. I mean, you could tell they redressed sets in season 1, sure, but Rocinante, the internal sets look amazing, and the special effects for the CG in space also look. It's a really well done show. It's completely worth watching and probably my favorite sci-fi show on television.
Ever?
I mean, currently, since Star.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wait a second.
It's like there's another like sci-fi show you seem to like.
Yeah,
well,
like quite a bit.
Well, there hasn't been any good episodes of Star Trek in like 15 years, sans Lower Decks. So ever since Enterprise is over, Lower Decks is only the good stuff we've got. So Discovery 4 seasons of garbage and Picard 1 season of garbage. So it's
Lower Decks is
not
good.
been not been kind to me, but in recent history, Expanse is by far the best sci-fi show in recent.
Yosh. Well, email David at Synthaholics.
All right, thanks for
at
watching.
Yahoo.com.
Thanks for joining
Thanks for
us,
watching,
Joe.
everyone.
Thanks
and
for
listening.
Yeah, listening. Yeah, thanks,
Yep.
Joe.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Brad.
Anytime.
Thanks, David.
All right. Oh, live
Merry
long and
Christmas.
prosper. Arcane one and all. So now that we're doing a test recording, Brian, how is Honey Pop treating you?
I haven't played it. Between everybody that's in here has played like 100 hours of Honey Pop. I'm the only one who hasn't played it.
So
There's like 300 hours of experience.
Kids, so
I don't know about that much.
I don't know. David might have more than. I think David has more than both of you.
yeah, I've got a lot of hours. So he is right. There's probably 300 hours between.
You have over 100.
I do have over 100.
Yeah, I don't have that much.
I mean, it's a good game. It's well thought out, a lot of fun. You should play so we can have you talk more during the sound checks, Brian, so that we're trying to check your levels as well as everyone else's.
You're the one talking.
Yeah?
I
think you just tested. I've talked enough. Aren't we testing?
I don't know. Have you talked enough, Brian?
I think you just got a little quiet there.
I had to go through so many wallpapers to find a League of Legends one that was not a Rule 34.
I'm still looking.
So
Yeah, I found some Rule 34 live action Jinx ones, and I'm like, I don't know if I could put that on there I don't know if Twitch or YouTube would like that very much.
I mean,
Probably
if you
not.
just blur the boobs. Everything else is fine.
That's so much extra work.
It's not extra work. Nothing's extra work.